going on, people? Happy Wednesday. It is the 12th of November, week 11 of this NFL regular season. Welcome inside the channel. I'm bobtrosset. Today's live stream is brought to you by my friends at Revian Red. That is red light hair therapy for natural growth. More on them in just a bit. And I've got a 4-month update for you on my hair sustainability and hopefully growth as well. You can find more information in the show notes and also as a pinned comment right now in the guest access line, or I should say in the live chat. Speaking of guest access line, though, that is included in the show notes if you want to call in and share a thought, because John Harbaugh just met with reporters within the hour and shared key injury updates on Lamar Jackson, Marlon Humphrey, and more. So without further ado, let's dive right in. If you could, like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. I'll get to super chats and guest calls as they come in. But here is an updated injury look as, again, week 11 begins. It's a first of 3 practices. And as Jamison Hensley notes from his beat reporter view, 5 players did not practice on Wednesday. The injury report will come out after 4 o'clock. For those of you watching live, it's 10 of right now. Lamar, one of those 5. We'll get to him in just a second. Rashad Bateman with a high ankle sprain, as he told ESPN's Kimberly Martin postgame in Minnesota, was not at practice. Marlon Humphrey, more on him and that finger. The decision has been made. John Harbaugh shared some information on that. We'll get to it in just a second. Justice Hill and Jay Higgins round out this list. Jay's dealing with a knee. Justice, John Harbaugh was vague on. So it's those 5. A lot different than last week where you had at least one day of all 53 men practicing. That's not the case this week. And as Jamison noted, yeah, they had perfect attendance for 2 of those practices last week entering week 10. And of course, this team comes in to a game at Cleveland on Sunday, 425, winners of 3 straight, and perhaps an opportunity, definitely an opportunity to get back to 500 for the first time this season. That's what they're trying to do. But they'll do so and begin the week without Lamar. John Harbaugh, a short while ago, talked about QB1 status and offered some specifics in terms of what he's dealing with.
He'd be listed as a knee, so it's not the hamstring, nothing there. Some soreness coming out of the game, so he should be okay. I'm looking forward to practice tomorrow.
Okay, so not the hamstring that forced him to miss multiple games this season. It is a knee. Adam Schefter notes that the team expects him to return to practice on Thursday. And of course, John Harbaugh made it clear that this wasn't related, paraphrasing, to the hamstring. So, look, in my view, and this is why I know some of you immediately jumped down my throat about hatred and doubt and this, that, and the other when I was asking the question, where is Lamar in terms of his overall health? He's been back from that hamstring for 2 games now, 2 wins, 1 against the Dolphins, the mini bye, and then, of course, this past Sunday in Minnesota. And the reason why I've been asking and wondering where Lamar is health-wise is because they haven't asked him to test that mobility, to test that hamstring. And now, added into what I'm sure is an ongoing recovery from that hamstring, now a knee is involved. So that's where things stand. He's missing the first of 3 practices. Cole Jackson, my co-host on The Collective, shared a tweet within the hour, and I've got some highlights that complement this. Cole said, "We've seen Lamar take 2 of the biggest hits he's taken as a Raven in 2025. One from Ed Oliver and one from Dallas Turner this past Sunday. The one from Ed, week 1 in Buffalo." Cole says, "This offensive line needs to be better in pass protection. They are quite literally protecting the franchise. And we've seen what this franchise consists of or looks like with and without Lamar. This is what danger looks like. Week 1, Ed Oliver gets a clean shot on Lamar. And of course, just this past Sunday, and what was called as roughing the passer because of the body weight and the way that Dallas slammed all of that body weight on Lamar in the way that he finished. I mean, look, this was a beautiful rep, obviously, but by definition, you may not like it, but by definition, this was correctly called as roughing the passer, the second of these two. But this is a rough watch right here. And I think this perfectly represents what's been the Ravens' offense Achilles heel so far this season. And I'm not saying that short yardage situations and consistently running the football and drops here and there and some overall operational lack of polish, I'm not saying all those things have been flawless. But what's been their Achilles heel? Pass protection. So much so, Lamar had to get that freaking football out of his hand quickly on Sunday against the Vikings. And I think they're going to have to dial something up schematically, or at least game planning wise, similarly to what they did well on Sunday, this coming Sunday against Cleveland. Because you know one thing that this Cleveland Browns defense does. They're going to get to your quarterback. They're going to contain your quarterback. They've got the athletes to do so. And they did so pretty darn well in the first half of that week 2 matchup, and then the Ravens ran away after some solid second half, or I should say a halftime adjustments in what was the Ravens home opener, and a 40-plus burger. I think it was 41, if memory serves, going back to week 2. So again, I hate to keep playing these on loop because it's probably a hard watch, but this is the reality right now of what the Ravens offensive line is susceptible to. We shared this graphic on the Vault earlier this afternoon. I think it warrants repeat. Take a look. This was through week 9, so it doesn't include the Minnesota game. You've got there's 4 different quadrants here. The upper half takes a look at the best pass protection teams, and the lower half are the worst pass protection teams. And then, of course, you've got lowest QBR to highest QBR. Look at where the Ravens are. Lamar's doing everything he possibly can. He's been surgical in the pocket. He's been a hell of a decision maker, a hell of a high-level processor, changing things when need be at the line of scrimmage, and operating his offense with poise, with precision, with a great command. But like most quarterbacks, when you are under duress, and hey, he's been fantastic under duress when it comes to pressure. Matter of fact, no other quarterback, when pressured this season, has a higher passer rating than Lamar at 109.5. But at some point, no matter how great you are, that wears and tears on you. And we've now seen 2 different instances this season alone through 10 weeks where Lamar's had to pay that price in the form of a hamstring and now in the form of a knee. We don't know the specific plays that are attached and are directly correlated, but the reality is this is a pass protection unit that has failed Lamar more often than not through 10 weeks. And that is a major, major uphill climb for this Ravens team who has aspirations, right? I don't know about Super Bowl aspirations. Certainly a couple months ago they did. Right now it better be about divisional winning aspirations, postseason aspirations. The Super Bowl conversation, get there when you get there. But right now, what's standing between them and where they want to be is very clearly an offensive line that has deficiencies that other teams are picking up on, exploiting, and having their way with. And that will continue this coming Sunday. Do not be fooled by Cleveland's record. This is a defense that's championship caliber. They have the athletes to contain Lamar. They have the athletes to stop a Ravens rushing attack, or at least be competitive in stopping the rushing attack. And I think it's going to require a decisive game plan by Todd Monken and company, getting the ball out of Lamar's hands quickly, attacking the middle of the field, and finding a way to win and be competitive in the trenches, giving Lamar a fighting chance to survey the scene, go through his reads. It's going to be a tough assignment, especially when number 95 is somebody that's got to be dealt with. Cleveland, crazy enough, has won 3 of the last 4 meetings at their place against the Ravens. They split the regular season series last year, and in that game that they won, Jameis Winston was the starting quarterback. It's Dylan Gabriel this year, a rookie, who has struggled mightily. This entire offense has struggled mightily. But they do have a downhill runner in rookie Quinshad Judkins, who made his NFL debut against the Ravens in week 2. He's got 561 rushing yards on the season. That's averaging out at 4 per carry. And he's somebody that he's a violent runner. Ravens defense are going to have to keep this thing honest. And I'd have to think that much like they did with J.J. McCarthy, they're going to throw the kitchen sink at a young quarterback in Dylan Gabriel. Disrupt sight lines. He only stands 5'11". They had 13 pass deflections on Sunday against the Vikings. Travis Jones, man, is there anybody outside of Kyle Hamilton? Is there anybody on this defense playing more impactful football than big number 98? Travis Jones, man, he is a load to deal with. 5 or 6 pressures, if memory serves, in week 10. Guy's a beast. He's playing a lot of snaps, too. Probably more than the Ravens would like. So that's what they're facing right now. Evan, you can talk about, here we go, right? This is what you guys do. Go ahead. Get caught up in the record. I see the Browns giving at least 3 competitive quarters against the Ravens. The weather is going to be gnarly. This is at their place. They don't have a lot to play for. They're not mathematically eliminated, whatever. This is one of those games. Don't go and have a short memory on me. We all remember what happened last year, or at least some of us do. Maybe others choose not to remember what happened last year. Don't do that. Don't get caught up in your... Don't throw the I love fandom glasses. I can't relate. But fandom glasses or fandom goggles is the reason why this channel exists, the reason why the Ravens exist, why all 32 NFL teams exist. I get that. But come on now. You guys just think it's going to be a boat race? You don't think Myles Garrett has something to prove? You don't think that Grant Delpit has something to prove, standing on business the way that he did in week 2 with Derrick Henry? He limited him. They limited the Ravens' rushing attack in week 2, and I suspect they might do the same on Sunday. I'm picking the Ravens, so don't go throwing words around, putting words in my mouth. I'm picking the Ravens. I'm just expecting this to be a hard-fought, nitty-gritty, low-scoring affair in shitty weather AFC North football. I get it. The Ravens hung a 40 burger. They did. But I don't think that told the full story in terms of the defensive game plan that went in. Jim Schwartz and company, they were successful through that first half. I see the Ravens pulling away in the fourth quarter, but I would not be surprised if you get really competitive, hard-fought, nose to the grindstone, a gutty type of performance from the Browns through 3 quarters before the Ravens just have too much firepower, too many answers. So DPG, I saw you in the vault earlier today. You seem pretty confident. Every single thing that I say, you're pushing back on. I love it. Call in and tell me why you think it's going to be a boat race coming up on Sunday. Let me know. Come on, DPG. You know how it goes in here. Where's C. Schulman, by the way? I'm not on island time anymore. Anybody know where C. Schulman is? Or did he kind of just go off into irrelevancy? We took away him, didn't we? Yes, we did. He came in here all hot to trot. And where'd he go? He long gone. Yes, he is. We know how it goes. Blacks114 says, so you see us having turnovers on offense? If so, how many? I never said that. I mean, they played a clean game against Minnesota. There were several drops in there. I never said that. I'm worried about the pass protection. I'm worried about running the ball effectively on Cleveland. This is a talented group. So I never went in that direction. If the Ravens defense now on the other side of the ball, if the Ravens defense continues its tear, I mean, they're coming off a game where you got to think about it. They're coming off a game where they essentially turned Minnesota over 6 times, 3 fourth down stops, 3 takeaways, including 1 on special teams. If that trend continues, they're going to be in pretty darn good shape. Sean's calling for outside runs with Keaton Mitchell. Love it. Feed that man. It's been a small sample size so far this year, and John Harbaugh talked about that on Monday during his press conference, and I thought didn't necessarily give the most clear-cut answer when it comes to usage or the lack thereof through 10 weeks. Keaton Mitchell's only played in 5 games. The team's played 9. They're 4-5. Listen to this from Monday.
I've seen the change of pace with Keaton Mitchell work really well over the last few weeks. Do you sort of like the level at which you're using that right now, or is that something that we could maybe see even more in certain games? Or
Yeah, I think more. Yeah, more. We should, and we were kind of intentional. We wanted to do more, just for whatever reason, we didn't get to it, but definitely want to see more Keaton. And, I think more you can mix it up. It's hard to take, it's hard to take plays off Derrick Henry's plate. That's a challenge. I think anybody can understand that, but mixing it up is also a good thing too, and I think all the guys understand the value of that too. So we're going to try to find that. It's going to be game to game probably, but try to find that world where everybody's most effective.
Was it something that his increased role, or was it really more from the coaching game plan side?
Again, please.
Was it something that Keaton did that earned him an increased role, or was it more from the game planning side?
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of both, but probably more Keaton. Just watching him throughout the course of the season, you could, he's been working hard. But he was coming back, hadn't played a lot last year, and I think he kind of was getting his sea legs back as a football player. Offensively and on special teams, both. And he made a big impact on special teams yesterday, twice as a gunner. I don't know if you noticed, but he had one play on the left sideline where he got down there right away, and then he had one where he got tackled and backed him up to the inside the 7-yard line, which was huge for us because it backed him up on that last drive, and then McCarthy got the big scramble, but it only got him out to like the 35-yard line because of that. That was a massive play, kind of hidden yardage play by Keaton. But even as a running back, I think he's really starting to, in the last, not just now, but in the last probably 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you could really start to see him come alive.
Not going to get into this too much. We've already talked about it on the vault. We've talked about it on Monday. It's clear when Keaton Mitchell is active, when you give him a role in this offense, good things happen. Yes, he has some deficiencies, particularly when it comes to pass blocking, right? Blitz pick-upping. That's not his strength. His strength is getting the opportunity to make things happen with the ball in his hands. And whether he's indirectly or directly involved in a play on offense, that is something that has to be taken into account by the opposing team's defense. And we've seen his home run hitting ability. We've seen him get that extra burst, that pep in his step, that explosiveness that we saw pre-ACL. Don't look now. It'll be 2 years next month that he'll be removed from that significant ACL tear. And he looks 2 years removed from it. So when John Harbaugh says that part of the reason why he wasn't a component early on in this season is that he's still getting his sea legs under him, I don't know if I truly buy into that, because we saw a player in the preseason. We heard about a player throughout training camp that was back to his previous self. And he told Sarah and I as much on our draft coverage, saying that it was going to be a movie this year. Well, he just hasn't had a whole lot of opportunities to go movie making. And hopefully those will come back for the Ravens' offensive sake more often, because he just brings an element of speed, explosiveness, misdirection. Oh, man, it is so fun to watch Keaton Mitchell tote that thing. So an update on Marlon Humphrey and that finger coming up in just a bit. But first, guys, this episode is brought to you by my friends at Revian Red, and you can follow along with me if you're interested in doing so, because I will be 3 years removed from my hair transplant coming up in March. And the folks at Revian reached out over the summer, and they felt like it would be a good fit because while, yeah, I've had a successful hair transplant with the folks at Bosley, this whole next step of my regrowth journey is all about red light hair therapy for natural growth. And there's two main things that are components for me. It's ideal for both maintaining healthy hair follicles and then regrowing stronger hair. So that's been sort of our mission, and that's why they reached out to begin with. Not to mention, shout out Amy. Amy was with me along the way at Bosley, and now she's with me every step of the way with Revian. I know you guys like to drag me about my hair journey and this, that, and the other. You guys pretty much know by now I'm an open book when it comes to hair, my once receding hairline, hair loss, and everything that's transpired for me over the last couple of years. But anyway, what I do 10 minutes a day since I started partnering up with Revian is I wear this cap, okay? And what this cap does is for 10 minutes, it's 10 minutes every single day. I'll bring you through the site. It's almost like an umpire's hat almost. You just throw that sucker on. You can control it and follow along through the Revian app that I have downloaded. By the way, you can schedule a one-on-one virtual consultation if you'd like. This is an FDA-cleared, at-home therapeutic LLT device utilizing patented dual wavelength technology. It's clinically proven to grow more hair in less time. Here's a look at it right now. And again, I can control and log and journal every single thing that I'm observing and want to take note of through the Revian app. So for 10 minutes a day, I throw this thing on. Typically, it's on during my pre-show prep with Sarah. Just throw that thing on in the morning, and that's what I do. They've got real-life testimonials, a number of them right here, like CG's, Lori's, men and women, by the way, could be up for this. Marsha, results at 28 weeks, so on and so forth. Bridget, and then if you go down to this part of the opening site, you can learn more about the app. So again, an all-natural hair loss solution, clinically proven to stop hair loss, grow healthy new hair, and improve volume and appearance. If you are interested, one, you can reach out. Happy to share some thoughts on what my journey's been like so far since starting this up over the summer. And then, most importantly, if you do end up pulling trigger, use my code, man, BobbyB25. That's BOBBYB25 will get you $500 off your purchase. And you've got a couple different red light therapy options that you can check out here. So again, that is BobbyB25, BOBBYB25. That'll get you $500 off your purchase. You can toggle through all these different tabs right here, whether it be shopping, checking out those testimonials that I started to read, diving in deeper to how it works, clinical results, resources, learn more about the company, so on and so forth. And to make it easy for you, in the show notes and as a pinned comment right now in the live chat, I've got everything you need. So I want to say thanks to Revian. This is my 4-month update. Photos to follow. It's as simple as that. Appreciate you, Revian, for the continued support. Guys, you know the drill. When you support my brand sponsors like Revian, you're directly supporting the channel. So thanks to them. John Harbaugh provided an update on Marlon Humphrey and his finger.
Pinned, so Marlon won't be playing in the game, but he'll be recovering, and hopefully the next week he'll be back.
So no Marlon Humphrey, indeed, dealing with that finger. Popped up on practice on Friday. And as he talked about post-game Sunday in Minnesota, it was difficult to reel in that interception on J.J. McCarthy.
I'm really not sure. I had a deal happen Friday, so it's kind of – I honestly have never really dealt with something kind of like this. So it's a little bit experimental for me. So I'm kind of unaware of what exactly going forward. It was not the most comfortable, that was for sure, but we'll see going forward.
But you still made the interception.
I did still make the interception. I think if I had two hands, I probably would have dropped it, honestly. So the cast might be good luck. So we'll see if I'm still wearing the cast in the playoffs or something. That would be wild.
Okay, guys, next man up. And when I say next man up, we know that Nate Wiggins has emerged as CB1. We know that Cheeto Uzie in year one with this team has emerged as CB2. And that means that Keon Martin will be next man up, as he was in the fourth quarter when Marlon couldn't go on Sunday in Minnesota. So here we are. It's a big test. Maybe not the biggest of tests coming up. They'll have Cleveland. They will then have the New York Jets. And then come the Cincinnati Bengals. Thursday night football, Thanksgiving night. It's the first of what? 2 matchups over a 3-week span. That's what's coming up in just 3 games from now. And so if I'm Marlon Humphrey, and John Harbaugh did say that he expects or hopes that he'll be back for the Jets game. But if that's pushing it and he needs more time to familiarize himself with the discomfort or just the different approach that it'll inevitably take to play with a pin in your finger, then why not take that extra week against the Jets and get yourself right for what'll absolutely be, you got to have it, an all-out game against, the top wide receiver duo in the entire land when the Bengals come to town on Thursday night. The question becomes, which Joe will be under center? Will it be Burrow trying to bust his way back from his toe procedure? Or will it yet again be Joe Flacco? And if it is Joe Flacco, that'll be the second time. It'll be the second time that they face Joe Flacco. Appreciate you guys for being with me on this Wednesday. If you could on the way in, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift giving today. We're going to open up the guest lines in just a second here. What are your thoughts on Lamar's absence on a Wednesday? It is knee related. And my God, if this pass protection does not shore up, it's going to be a long 8 weeks. Everything is there for the taking. The AFC North is wide open. The entire AFC really is wide open. Here's the latest from Kalshi. The favorites to win the conference entering week 11 are as follows. Kansas City, if postseason began today, they'd be the 8th seed, and yet they have a 23% chance to win the conference. The Colts, who currently would be your top overall seed and earn that first round bye, have a 17% chance to win the AFC. Buffalo is currently the 6th seed because the AFC East is being controlled by New England, who, by the way, the Ravens will have to face in December. Mike Vrabel's Patriots. They have a 16% chance of winning the AFC, does Buffalo. And the Ravens, who are currently on the outside looking in as the 10th seed in the AFC, have a 14% chance to win the conference. In other words, it is wide open. Here's a look. Good Morning Football, NFL Network has Kansas City, Houston, Baltimore, and Cincinnati in the lurking category. That the Ravens are lurking. Will they do more than lurk? Well, let's ask Vinny. What's going on, dude? Welcome to the program. Your thoughts on Lamar's absence on a Wednesday? And 2, do you see him lurking? Are they lurking in your mind?
Well, you can hear me, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'm not driving, by the way, this time. I'm at my house, so
You made me nervous, and everybody yells at me. So thank you for being stationary.
Yeah, I was coming home from work. I'm working from home today, so
Nice.
I think we need to just keep doing the short passing game to mitigate the offensive line deficiencies. Because if you look at Buffalo and Kansas City, for example, they have 2 elite quarterbacks, but they do a lot of that short passing game to even with great offensive lines. Because what did they do in that playoff game against us? They were risk free. Allen had 124 yards passing. I mean, it was just play safe. And when you're playing the Browns, the Jets, and the Bengals, I'll say the Browns and the Jets because the Bengals have a potentially good offense. You don't need to overcomplicate it and show your hand against weaker teams. Um, but to mitigate the defense, the Jets obviously aren't the Browns defense, right? But like the next 2 weeks, I feel like we can continue to play safe. And then it also helps mitigate Lamar's soreness in his knee, whatever he's dealing with his hamstring. Because I mean, it looked efficient against the Vikings, even though it wasn't flashy. At the end of the day, who cares about flashiness? We want to win.
Yeah.
And then as we get towards the Patriots and the Packers and the Steelers, that's when Monken can roll out a little bit more of his deeper passing game.
Yeah,
as
what
Lamar
was
gets
flashy,
healthier.
maybe not by definition, but what was flashy on Sunday is that you played a clean game, you weren't heavily penalized, and you accurately, to your point, and efficiently moved the ball quickly and got the ball out of Lamar's hands, didn't test his mobility. He did take a pretty darn big hit there on Dallas Turner. I had that clip earlier on, and as Cole noted, two of the biggest hits that he's sustained throughout his 8-year career have taken place within the last couple months. Week
Yes.
1, Ed Oliver got him good. And then, of course, Sunday and what was called roughing the passer, Dallas Turner got him good. And we know what Cleveland's defense is capable of. They are the second-ranked group overall. They're giving up just 264.9 yards per game. They're the 10th-ranked rushing defense. Under 100 is all they're allowing per game. They're second against the pass, 17th in scoring, 9th on third down, 7th on fourth down, and 10th in the red zone, where the Ravens have struggled, as we've all seen. Just 2 for 5 inside the 20 this past Sunday in Minnesota. So it's pretty clear what needs to happen on Sunday. I think it's going to be a wonky AFC North game. The weather is shit. There's going to be wind. There's going to be rain. Maybe there'll be flurries. Tough game for the special teams, right? Jordan Stout, in order to continue his all-pro, dare I say, all-pro caliber year that he's putting together, that's going to be tricky. It is tough to punt the football in that kind of weather. Hopefully you won't have to punt the football a lot.
We need to put Keaton Mitchell in more, I think, to put a strain on the defensive line to keep them off balance and not just be predictable with Henry off tackle or up the middle. Because if you can get Keaton wide or on screens or even off tackle, you combine the physicality of Henry with the speed of Mitchell, that offloads the pressure on Lamar too. Short passing game, not just to Zay Flowers. I think they need to get Keaton Mitchell more in the short screen game to help.
Well, they won't have Rashad Bateman across the middle, which is a bummer, but they will have all 3 tight ends, of course, and Pat Ricard will be out there. Just to remind everybody, week 2, and yes, there's always seasons within the season, but in week 2, this was a group that was held to 45 rushing yards on just 21 carries as a group, but 45 rushing yards.
I was at the game.
Yeah, you remember. I mean,
yeah.
Look, they got very, very little push. And a lot of that was just how badly they were getting beat in the trenches.
It took a blocked punt and a bunch of things to go our way that aren't normal plays for it to be a blowout, right?
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, people look.
I took the Browns plus 7.5. It was plus 8.5. I took them plus 7.5. I think this is going to be like a 4-point game. Right? It's going to be close.
Yeah, 8.5 right now, right? Or
yeah.
You said 7.5? Okay.
I took them at 7.5. The pros, the sharps, actually, for some reason, I'm not sure what they're seeing, moved it to 8.5. So I guess they see some with the Ravens. I don't know with the track record, the fact that they've lost 3 of the last 4 games in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're seeing, but I think we're both in agreement. It's going to be like a 4-point game. They pull away late in the fourth quarter.
Look, you look at this thing from week 2. I don't know if it's going to be a similar script or not. I shouldn't use the word script. But they put up 21 fourth quarter points, the Ravens did. It was anybody's game through 3 quarters. Derrick Henry had 11 carries, 23 yards. That's 2.1 per tote. I mean, this is a team that is going to dominate. I feel confident in that. They are going to dominate the trenches, at least defensively speaking. How are the Ravens going to respond? Will they win the special teams battle, to your point? Will they be more polished? Will there be a game-deciding play? Will there be a Keandre Jackson kind of play? Who's going to punt the ball less? Because if you're punting the ball early and often on a day with with gnarly weather, which is expected, and it's probably going to be dark 15 or 20 minutes after kickoff. So it's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. The chill, I'm sure, will be frigid, sub-frigid. It's got the makings of a classic AFC North game coming up on Sunday.
It reminds me of, I don't know if you remember when we already had clinched the division, but against the Steelers, that was like our second to last game or last game of the season. I think RG3 or something. It was dark. It was disgusting outside, and it was just running the ball constantly. I'm thinking if it's going to be Huntley, I doubt it because we think Harbaugh, he's not going to be trying to get another fine for hiding some information about Lamar's status, right? But, but regardless, we need to be creative in the run game, and that's where Greg Roman was really good. He was creative in the run game, and I think Monken needs to get in his ear a little bit. And how can you be more creative in the run with the lack of guard play on both sides?
Yeah,
right?
Some of those pulling concepts, right?
Yes.
You had, God, who the hell did he have at his disposal those years at guard? Was Bozeman there?
Yeah, Bradley Bozeman and Yonda for a hot second, and then he was gone.
Yeah, Marshall was just 2019, obviously.
Yeah.
And that was, I say just 2019. That was one of the most historic, if not the most historic rushing attack in the history of football.
Yeah.
So let me not discount that at all. That can't be overstated.
But this is where we need creativity in the run game.
What's that?
We need creativity in the run game. We can't just be predictable. Monken's biggest flaw is crucial offensive play calling situations in crucial key moments. That's where he's fallen short. And I think that's where the criticism has come. He's unlocked Lamar, and that's been a great step, but he needs to be honed in on when it's a key situation, not to go into panic mode and default to his normal tendencies.
See, this is like the two things that come to mind when somebody says that. One, I hear you. You have to have a better understanding and a feel for your personnel and what their weaknesses and strengths are. At the same time, sometimes you are who your personnel is. And Todd Monken's personnel that he has at his disposal, particularly his guard play, is lackluster.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like two things can be true. He has to have a better feel, particularly when it comes to short yardage situation. Dude, he's going to have to pull out some of that creativity shit that we saw, a direct snap to Mark Andrews and Lamar lining up as a running back, giving Pat Ricard his first carry in 3 years. That's the type of stuff that it's going to take to move the chains against a Cleveland defense. It's going to be ready for anything. And they got the athletes. I will say this. They have the athletes and the scheme and the defensive play caller to contain Lamar Jackson. They've shown it time and time again. They just do.
Likely dropping the ball. I've never seen that happen. That guy has vice grips. I think that's a fluke one-off, and I think he could be more involved in the tight end screen game. And even with dirty weather, he has the best hands on the team in my opinion. Besides Hopkins, before he came here, I think Likely. That's why I was always why didn't they throw it to Likely at that 2-point conversion against Buffalo? Because he caught the touchdown. I'm just saying, in my opinion, he might not be as good of a route runner as Mark, but he has better hands and he's just as good as a blocker. So I think he has perennial potential to carry them the rest of this. Lamar likes throwing to him. Huntley does not like throwing to him, so we don't have to worry about that. But I think he'll be a big factor. Him and Mitchell should be factors in this game.
Let me pause for 1 second because Don Royal is begging for my attention. Hi, Don. How are you? I hope you're having a great day. Sorry, little boy. It's too bad, man, that Likely's year has been derailed by a couple different things. One, first and foremost, the foot coming out of it right there, right before the season began. Total bummer that he had to miss the several. What did he miss? The first 4 weeks?
I was going to say 3 or 4 weeks. Yep.
Did he return against Kansas City? Was that what it was?
Yeah, but anyway. It wasn't much of a return because that game was so terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. Okay, so that's one. Two, as soon as he did return, Lamar exits for multiple weeks.
To my point, Huntley doesn't throw him a rush, wasn't throwing him the ball. So
right. So between those two things,
no momentum.
Damn, it's in a contract year, no less. And ultimately, you look at all four tight ends, including Ricard. I'm going to throw him in that category. All four in contract years, and nobody's really had that year that you're looking for when it's time to get paid. It's a total bummer, and you got 8 weeks left or whatever. But that's been the case. I mean, Pat's only been back for a couple weeks. Isaiah missed the first month. Mark obviously has been a factor, but hasn't had the statistical numbers that he's used to. And then we know what. Well, actually, Charlie might have had. Charlie's probably having the best year out of everybody.
Hey, Kadri Ishmael, shout out who loves him. But anyway, I got to run. But I've been a fan. I'm 31, so we're the same age. But I've been a fan since I can actually remember. So it's kind of crazy. 30 years. I had that. I think I saw in your background you have that whiskey bottle. I think I bought that, and I'm going to put that up in my shrine, my Raven shrine. 30 years. I mean, it's like I've essentially been a fan my entire life.
You know what? So, hold on. Give me one. Give me 10 seconds. How about it? Because you know what, Benny? You want the whiskey or the vodka?
Team whiskey, man. I'm not a vodka drinker. I like the bourbon.
Oh, what the hell? Yeah, because Charm City Spirits, they've been kind enough to send me a couple different packages so far.
I knew I thought I saw that. All right.
So here you go. Yeah, I usually have it in my window, and then I thought to myself, probably not the best idea ever to just keep this stuff in my window in a neighborhood that I don't even know. But yeah, Charm City Spirits, they're partnering up with the Ravens, and they've sent me 2 different packages. And to your point, this is all in honor of the 30th anniversary celebrations that are ongoing. So go check them out.
Well, bummer you moved to Florida. I'm sure you had your good reasons. I'm in Catonsville, but hopefully maybe one of these days when you're out broadcasting, we'll tag up at a Ravens game.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they're going to play, can you imagine they get a home playoff game? If that's the case, I'll definitely be back for that. In all reality, probably not until then. I've had an insane.
Yeah, you've been traveling a lot, dude.
It's just been, I thought it was hilarious. Cole and Jeff were dragging my ass on the collective last night. And all it really is that like bye week, I try to get away every year. I went to Banff. That was pre-planned. And then my mom turned 60 and I got an opportunity.
Congratulations, man. Awesome to hear.
It was awesome. But I got an opportunity because of a guy that grew up in Dundalk, who's the head marketing director at this Belize-based resort, to bring my entire family out. And I was like, how can I not do this? But I've had to miss 2 collectives because of my travel. So they're ripping my ass. It cracks me up. But
when you think of Dundalk, you don't think of paradise. So that's a weird pairing there. So I'm gonna leave you on that one.
Yeah, dude, and you look at this guy, like so far from stereotypical Dundalk, which cracks me up. So
okay, that's a little inside baseball for those who aren't from this area. So
correct.
Hey, it was good talking to you, though. I appreciate you taking my call.
You too, man. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Vinny. Catonsville's finest, Vinny, fellow 31-year-old. Wonder what his dating app looks like in terms of the age range. Think he starts early 20s? I don't know. He's looking at me right now, though. Shimmy Boy says, was McCary the difference last year? Interesting. Well, he was heavily penalized, the most heavily penalized player on the Ravens, I might add. But what was he? Reliable, durable, and experienced. So, yeah, I do think they miss Patrick McCary. And I do think we were all quick to write the guy off or maybe undervalue Patrick McCary's significance and value. Good point, Shimmy. Appreciate you guys for being with me tonight. If you haven't already done so, I would love for you to check out the show notes. You can learn more about Revian Red. It's red light hair therapy for natural growth. I know a lot of you reached out to me after my hair transplant a couple of years ago. What have I been doing to maintain and sustain and hopefully continue to regrow since this past summer? I started partnering up with Revian. Red light hair therapy. Wear this cap for 10 minutes a day. Pretty cool. I track it all through the Revian app. I hope you'll learn more. This is the 4-month update. Ravens are 8.5-point favorites coming up on Sunday in Cleveland. But in Cleveland, the Browns have won 3 of the last 4. How much does that actually matter? I don't know. But they've played the Ravens tough pretty consistently over the course of the Kevin Stefanski era, which dates back to 2020. Under John Harbaugh, Baltimore's 13-2 straight up when favored by 7 or more points against these Cleveland Browns. But again, the weather will be gnarly. Expect the weather to be gnarly for sure. Clinton says McCary was a solid 6th offensive lineman, but isn't starting quality. Not suggesting who we have currently are either. Yeah, I don't think so. And to be honest with you, I don't think that those behind, obviously, those behind Daniel Lele are starting quality. Now, don't tell Rave Kingdom that, but I think the Ravens know that. And as a result, they're paying the price for the lack of activity and overall contingency planning and emergency planning that they did not do in the offseason. And, of course, at the deadline, I don't think going to get and overpaying for Trevor Penning would have been the answer, by the way. And really, I don't think there was another offensive lineman moved. If memory serves, I believe Trevor Penning was the only lineman who was traded prior to the deadline, and he went to the Chargers from the Saints, and he has not been playing very well at all. So, yeah. Okay. More to come tomorrow. Appreciate you guys for all the support. I'll be back live through the rest of the week. Thanks to Revian Red for sponsoring this episode. Thanks to Vinny for calling in. Quiet guest line day. Where's everybody at? You guys still with me? Like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership today. And be on the lookout for tomorrow's practice to see if Lamar will indeed return as he's expected to do, according to his head coach, dealing with a knee. Practice report comes out, I'm sure, in a few minutes. Be on the lookout for his status. Rashad's, he'll likely be out this upcoming weekend. No Bateman. See where Justice Hill pops up. And, of course, how they might handle Lamar's latest setback in what's been a challenging last month or so. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch up with you soon.